I remember we sat here 1 year ago starting our projects on our land that we just purchased here in the north of Portugal. Until that point, we spent zero on the projects, but we spent 47,000 for the property that came with the land and the abandoned house.
To be honest, we had no idea how much we would spend throughout this year, what projects that we would be doing. So this is our journey explaining everything that we've done to our land in a 1 year period.
Let's go.
So that's it. We spent 47,000 euros to buy this piece of land. And honestly, we think that that was a great price. It's in a great location. In total, we have 10,000 square meters of land and it already came with a license to build. But on the downside, it didn't have some of the essential things like water. But the very first thing that we did was clean the land because it had been abandoned for years.
So the very first thing that we did was clear all of this land because it was completely abandoned, filled to the top with brambles. And during this process, we actually found this ruin that we didn't even know was on the property. But remembering that we didn't actually spend any money on hiring anyone out to clean the land because we bought a strimmer and did it ourselves. So that was €0 of labor for cleaning the land. At this current moment, we haven't spent any money on our ruin, but we do plan to invest some money into this amazing little spot. But we're going to talk about that later on in this video.
We started by first cleaning the land, and then we were able to focus on our very first project.
Well, this was the first spot that we decided to invest some money and some time here on this land. Let's go to the yurt and show you more. When you buy an abandoned land, the first thing you need is a shelter. And this yurt was our first shelter here on this land. The yurt itself was actually zero because it was a gift from Eda's mom from England. But everything else here cost us some money. The transport from the yurt from England to here was made by our friend Gary that came all the way from England to here. That cost us some money. The platform that the yurt is sitting on cost us some money. This platform and the other platform, because we were planning to do a second yurt there, but we didn't do. And our furniture and all our costs inside also cost us some money. The bed that is not here is in the tiny house. Our furniture, buying a new yurt canvas because it was too old, this yurt canvas, also cost us some money. But how much was that? The total of bringing Gary all the way from England to here, and Gary also helped us to build this yurt, but he didn't charge us anything. Thanks, Gary. And also the platform that the yurt is sitting on, and all the furniture and the yurt canvas cost us a total of 6,000 euros, which you may think is a lot, but if you would buy a yurt like this, 25 square meters yurt that has a really good structure, it will cost you only the yurt around 6,000 to 8,000.
I'd also just like to point out that the fact that we built this yurt and have been sleeping in the yurt through the whole process of this year, we've actually managed to save so much on accommodation, hotels. So yeah, 6,000 to build this on the platform, but in the long run, we've actually saved a lot.
Yes.
At first, we started doing projects on the lower part of the land, but we later realised it made way more sense to invest our time and money on the upper part, as that's where the abandoned house was and the access was much easier.
After we built the yurt and we bought some equipment like the chop saw, like the miter saw, we actually realised we didn't have anywhere to put them. So this is when we decided to open up this entire space, because before that, the land actually stopped just after this oak tree. So there was an old garage, there was an old car, but the rest of this, where the container is and where the tiny house is, was just a continuation of this huge hill. So we decided to open up this space completely. We had to bring somebody in to demolish the old garage because that had an asbestos roof, and open up some space on the other top part of the land. So including all of that, that was roughly around 1,500 euros. One of the best investments on this land has to be a container. I am completely in love with this container and how practical it is and how much we use like on a daily basis. And to be honest with you, I have to show you the upgrade that it's just been through, because we've painted it from the outside, so now it camouflages into the background, but it's such a crucial part of our day and security on the land, having somewhere to store all of our equipment that keeps it dry, that keeps it safe. And now everything is organized. So I'm just gonna give you guys a really quick tour to show you around. So we have this new station where I've built, actually bought these off Amazon, these little hooks to store all of our like manual tools for the land, which is really helpful. They're not on the ground, I didn't want them anywhere. Then we built this whole new station, which is kind of dedicated like tea station. Yes, I live in Portugal, but I import all of my British tea. I'm a Yorkshire tea galley, so is Eliezer. Then we've got our microwave, things to make toasties, basically a food station. Because obviously we're here, we sleep here, so we need a little place for our drinks and some snacks. The rest of this whole container is then just been, actually I've just upgraded it, buying all of these boxes to organize all of our tools and all of our equipment. So I put some more OSB shelves in and it's been so helpful. I just find it a lot easier to come in and know exactly where everything is and everything has a place. So we have so much storage. We actually have a lot of these boxes that are empty, ready to store things. So I love that. I organize so well that we actually have extra storage. But I do have to say my favorite corner of this whole container has to be our new workbench area. It has just had the biggest upgrade. So we actually bolted in this OSB board to the container to be able to hang this up and then hang up all of our tools. It's not 100% yet because there's still going to be other things that we're going to hang up. But the main thing is this amazing, really nice plywood work tool box thing that Eliezer made. We used a lot of inspiration off Pinterest and I just think it looks amazing, but actually it's very practical, you know, multi-tool, all of our batteries up there. So this has been a major upgrade. We did spend a little bit more on wood, but nothing crazy. And I feel like this is really gonna help a lot, finishing off the tiny house and also for the main house. So we spent just on the container round about, no, it was 2,000 euros. So it was 1,600 for the actual container and then the rest 400 for the shipping or delivery. So yeah, 2,000 for one of the most useful spaces and most important spaces on the land. I think that was a great investment because you need somewhere to put everything. So yeah, way easier buying a container and just plopping it in instead of building a whole cabin for all of our tools. So that was definitely one of the best 2,000 euros we ever spent.
Some things we get right and some things we get wrong. Our container was super right. Right decision, right investment, but our giant, huge, unnecessary pergola, really badly done, was a huge mistake. Luckily, it only cost us 1,000 euros. But guys, you don't see this pergola here because we dismounted. It fell apart actually.
It already broke. Yeah.
It broke. It broke with the wind and the rain, and we had to take it apart. But we spent 1 whole month building a giant pergola to protect our tiny house from the rain. We thought that, okay, let's build a tiny house. It's rainy season here in Portugal. Instead of putting a tarp, simple, put a tarp on top of the tiny house. No, let's build a giant pergola 5 meters high to protect the tiny house. That took us a month, 1,000 euros, and that was super, super dangerous to do. We were climbing 5-6 meters high on the rain with no protection.
It was really sketchy.
Oh my God. Well, guys, you have to think, plan a lot before making decisions. That's the one thing that we learned. If we really thought about what we were doing and we really planned, we wouldn't have done that pergola. But luckily, it was only 1,000 euros and no one got hurt. That was the one thing that we thought, why didn't we do that sooner? We spent around 8 months here with no water in this land. And now we dug more than 100 meters down to the earth to find our water. Now we have infinite water and that's super needed. When you have a land, make sure that your land has water. Now, super strong. I love that we have water to take showers, to brush our teeth, to make food, to do everything. Water is super important. And that cost us around 7,000 euros. You might say that's expensive. I also thought that was cheaper. when I thought, okay, you're gonna dig for water, no, they're cheaper. I was thinking like 1,000 euros for water, but no, it's around 7,000 euros in our case, but super needed. I'm glad that we did that. As we mentioned, the first thing we decided to do was clean the land. And at the beginning, that didn't cost us anything, as we did it ourselves. What we didn't mention is that we spent almost an entire month cleaning. And even then, we didn't manage to finish everything. So that's when we decided to get some professional help to speed things up.
Even though we tried to clean our land with the strimmer, which we could have done as well for this part and the upper part, but it would have taken a lot longer. And here in Portugal, we have fire seasons. So there are certain times of the year that it's actually really dangerous. And in Portugal, there is a law that you have to clean 50 meters from your house, like an area of 50 meters for the fires. So obviously if it's a wildfire, you're protected, your house and everything. So we weren't fast enough to clean everything. This would have taken us so long. So that's why we hired someone out, our good friend Mario, to help us clean this whole, basically this whole like side of this hill was full of old pine trees that had fallen. It was a big fire risk that we weren't really willing to stress over and try and do it all of ourselves. So we decided to pay him to clean everything, all of this whole hillside and around the house with the strimmer, and he burned everything because you have to burn all of the weeds and basically clean everything. So the total for him cleaning the land was 3,000 euros. That was super important for us because it saved us so much time. That would have taken us so long to clean all of this, burn all of this, and yeah, that was obviously really important because of the fire season. So that was a really important expense.
Now let's talk about big costs. All the costs so far were small costs. I know, 3,000 here, 7,000 there. I know it's not small, but these ones, let's go for the real deal. Guys, I was so innocent. I thought to build a stone wall. It's stones, you find stones everywhere, innit? It's just put one stone on top of the other. No, I thought like a wall like this. This wall is around 60 meters. I thought like 1,000 euros, 2,000 maximum. You're gonna see the real price here. So this first wall is right on the entrance of our land. And we built this wall for two reasons. First, before this wall was here, it was so ugly. There was a hill coming down with a lot of dead trees, dead bush. It was not looking good. And also it was very dangerous. If it rains for a long time and with wind, this earth could all go down. And also, a lot of you guys mentioned that we had to build a retaining wall for our safety, especially because we were building the tiny house on this space. And you can come down, you see the dimension of this wall. This wall, it goes a maximum of 3 meters high, and our friend Thiago did with blue and yellow stones. And really well done. If you look at this angle here, you guys can look from this angle. That's when you see when a wall is a straight line like that. That's when you see it's a good wall. It goes all the way from our entrance to our container. It crosses our entire land, pretty much, from the upper part. Look at the container, it's right over there. It finishes right on the container. So we did statically and for safety. This hill right here is a huge hill. And we don't want any water coming down and making blocking our entrance and also making dangerous the part for the tiny house. So we built this wall and let's go. This second wall, which is still in progress. If the first wall right on top of the land was for statics and safety, this wall here is only for safety. We're gonna build our main house right on top of this wall, and the earth here, look at that. Is very soft. You don't want to build a house on top of the earth like that. You need a wall, a retaining wall. So this wall is more like a retaining wall. You have a lot of huge stones like this one that you can see, and a lot of another huge stones that you cannot see. But our friend Thiago, he dug 1 meter deep into the earth to put more stones. So there are more stones 1 meter down and then another 2 meters 70, 2 meters 50 up. So this is really holding the house that's coming in the future. From here you can have a better angle. Look up there, our first wall, 60 meters long, all the way from the entrance to the container. And here, down here, our second wall. The first one is 60 meters, this one will be about 40 meters. The costs of these two walls, this one that's still in progress, but we're gonna talk about the final cost of this one. Cost of two walls and demolition of the house. There was an old house here before that we demolished as well. Is about 35,000 euros. I thought, okay, a wall like that will be 2,000, 3,000, we're gonna spend like 5,000 on these walls. No, 35. And that's one thing to consider if you're planning on buying land that's very steep and inclined, like this one. Look at so many layers that we have here. You're gonna spend some money on building retaining walls. That's a cost that you have to consider. This land had no walls at all, so we had to build the walls ourselves. And yeah, 35 grand. And building stone walls is no joke either. It's a whole process. You need to cut these insanely heavy stones, stack them perfectly, and align everything. Thiago really deserves credit for building those walls.
And lastly, we have our tiny house. As you guys have been watching, or maybe not been watching, we have been building this tiny house for the last, I'd say 7 months now, 8 months, something like that. But from scratch, this is the first time we're doing it. And yeah, this is the stage that it's at so far. Obviously the whole exterior is ready. The interior is basically nearly ready. We're just in the part of the building our own kitchen and our stairs and our bathroom. So not that long left, but until this point, we have spent just over 20 or 21,000 euros on this tiny house. And I do have to say, comparing this tiny house and the quality of this tiny house to buying a tiny house ready, like custom made, is basically half of the price. So yes, we spent a lot on the time, but we've saved ourselves 30 to 40, maybe 50,000 euros.
And guys, you heard right. We're doing this for the first time. And look at the quality.
Yes.
It's a really good tiny house. Let's show the inside as well.
Yes, come along. So as you can see, this is the interior. We have plywood walls on. Everything's basically been primed and painted and ready to go. The only thing left that we need to do is build out our kitchen, was going to be here, and our staircase, and then obviously just buy the sofa and a couple other pieces of furniture. So we're on the last we're on the last strip, you know, the last 100-meter sprint. So it has been really good. I think we've been able to stay in budget. So 20,000, just over 20 or 21,000 euros until this point. And we plan to not spend more than 30,000 euros for this whole tiny house, the trailer, everything. And saying that, I do have to say that this tiny house has been built with really good materials. We spent a lot on a good insulation. We know where we need to cut back and what we need to not be cheapskates on, you know. So we have really good external cladding, really nice plywood walls, and yeah, the kitchen's gonna look great. The bathroom is gonna be tiled. So it's a 30,000 euro investment, which is a lot of money, but it's literally gonna be a complete house. It's gonna have everything in here, and we're nearly at the finish line. So once this is done, that's gonna be checked off the list, and we're gonna move on to our next project.
Adding everything up, we've spent 75,000 euros on the land so far. And if you include the purchase price, that brings the total to over 122,000 euros. The biggest expenses was the land itself, the stone walls, and the tiny house. You're probably shocked with how much that is. And to be honest, so are we, because until now, we hadn't even calculated the full amount that we've spent.
But think about it. We bought this place for 47,000 euros. If we decided to sell it right now, which we don't plan to, with the tiny house, the walls, water system and everything, we could easily sell it for at least 100,000 euros. So it's not just spending money, it's taking numbers from your bank accounts and turning them into something real. A piece of land where you can build, create and live close to the nature. And honestly, me and Eda are so happy here. It has been such a pleasure and we have learned so much. So yeah, let us know what you think about these expenses. Sometimes I think that we're spending too much and sometimes I feel like we are not. But in the end, this feels like the right decision. But we're curious to hear your thoughts. And future projects. Our biggest future and slash present project is our main house.
And the most expensive.
And the most expensive. We already started because we already dug the part for the house.
It's all ready. It's all ready to go. They're coming really, really soon and it's gonna be really fast.
And if you don't know, it's this house that you see on the pictures right now.
So if you don't know, we're building this really modern, unique house, very different to the traditional building style here in this region of Portugal, which they all normally build with stone. And yeah, 130 square meters, lots of glass, indoor, outdoor living. And we're nervous, we're excited, and it's gonna be one of the biggest, scariest projects we've ever invested into. And we're gonna be learning as we go, learning on the job, because we're gonna be taking part every single day.
And along with the main house, we have a lot of new projects coming close to the house, around the house.
Yes.
A pool, a natural pond with waterfall.
A deck,
The ruin. We have some ideas for the ruin and a lot of other structures here around the house. But we decided that's going to be for our next video.
We have so many projects. I think that if we listed them all in this video would be so long. So
yes, we want to make a video just about the projects for the future and as well as the costs of these projects. So that's it for this video.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you liked our transparency. If you have any comments, please leave them down below.